Hello and welcome to another new episode of Learning Simplified. Today in this tutorial, we are going to add some continue reading button like this one into our theme. So stay tuned. Now, on this previous occasion, I would like to say that in our project so far, there is no such quick button like this continue button or read more button right over here. So all we need to do, we need to click into these individual links here to get into that particular post. But what about if we create a read more button here, on clicking which we could be reaching into the full length content display of that individual post? It will be far more attractive and wise. So that is why we are about to add some continue reading button into our theme. Now in doing so, the first thing that we need to know, where should we exactly place those continue reading button? Like we can see that in the front page, in the category page, and then like this is the archive page. These are the places where we should be keeping our continue read button, as these pages, those are practically executing the content display in an excerpted view. So these are the pages where we should be expecting a continue reading box, on clicking which the full length display of this individual post will be observed to us. But before that, all we need to do, we need to get back to our text editor, and first of all we need to change something right over here. As we can see that there's practically no such link is been established into these posts. This is due to the fact that we have misplaced this individual closing tag here. So all we are going to do, we are going to use it somewhere else, like here. This is the closing parameter here. Press Ctrl S, get back to your project and reload, and you can see that those links are practically on. We had misplaced these tags into the before parameter instead of closing the linking tag to the after parameter. That is why this problem was going on repeatedly. And now that we have got rid of this individual part, now we will be hopping into displaying our continue reading box into our page. We will be seeing that in two different ways, and we will be definitely discussing on what is the disadvantage of using it in a particular way and what is the advantage of using it another alternative way. So we will be viewing here both the processes. Just keep watching. This is the category page right over here. So if we now head back to this category here, this is the archive page. Instead of it here, if we head back to any of these category pages, this is the category page here, sublet, and we can see that there goes the excerpted content of this individual post. So in the next case, all we need to do, we need to create a continue reading button right below this excerpted version of the content. So this is what we are going to do. In the first case, we need to drop out of PHP right over here, and we need to turn it on. So there it goes. Press Ctrl S here, and all we can do in the middle part, we may create this href. We'll be taking care of it. First of all, let's create the button. If we use this button primary here, let's ID this thing as button, and we need to put a name right over here, button. Okay, then now we will be choosing here, first of all, toggle the view, toggle word wrap here. Now what is this thing doing right over here? We have used this underscore E, and then we had placed what we exactly want to show into our button, and that is why we had placed it inside as a parameter here of this PHP WordPress function. In the next case, we need to put here as a link the permalink. Now one might get confused here why we aren't using this get the permalink option here. This is due to the fact that it is going to display the URL of that exact post, which is not intentional here. All we wish to return some kind of link to our button here, and that is why instead of using this get the permalink, we will be using the WordPress function the permalink, as it will be printing directly the permalink of that individual post, and it will be returning it as a result. So that is why we won't be using any get the permalink part here. Press Ctrl S. First of all, let's check, head back to your project and reload. And we can see that we have already built up this continue reading box right over here. So building up the theme, if we hit this continue reading box, we can see that we can practically reach into that single individual page that we are wishing to see in its full length display. So this is what we need to know in the first thing. We have created this for this category page. Similar thing goes for this archive page, where we'll be practically using this kind of continue reading box. So the next part is definitely known to you. You need to copy this one. You need to get back to the archive page, and just beneath this echo the expert, first of all, drop out of PHP, drop in, and then we need to put it right over here. And we can see practically that the same continue reading box will be present right over here. If we head back to this home page, we need another continue reading box into our home page. So we'll be getting back to our project, and here if is home, it has another individual act to do right over here. Drop out of PHP, drop in, sorry, Control V, get back to your project and reload, and you can see that this will be the result. We have practically placed this continue reading box into our home page too. This is not in a proper manner, so in an order to avoid this thing, let's do it another way. Just get back to this content page, content.php here. This is the excerpted version, and everything is written in an HTML format. So all we need to do, we need to paste it here. There it goes. We have pasted this entire thing right over here along with the link and with this button class. Now if we head back to our project and reload, now we can see that this continue reading box is right back into our home page. This continue reading box is back into our category page, and the exact same thing could be said for this archive page here, others archive page, where we can see that the continue reading box is present. So up to this it is okay, but what about if we wish to make some changes? For say, instead of button primary, we wish to use the class button secondary, and we wish to take this change in effect immediately after we create it once, if we change it once into a single place. First of all, if we change this class name into secondary, button secondary instead of button primary. Now we wish, after reloading it, we can see that the button has not changed. It is now using a class of button secondary. But if we click on this sample page, we can see that the continue reading box, it is practically using the same old button class of button secondary. Now this is a problem. Each time, anytime, whenever we wish to make some changes here, all we need to do, we need to make these changes in 3 places right over here. The first one is into this content.php page. The second one is into this category page, and the third one is into this archive page. Now this is a very problematic part because we practically in real life cannot make these things happen. This is a very misuse of programming. We are practically coding a lot, but we are not returning a positive output as it is supposed to be. Like, I wish to make a change in a particular place, and immediately that change will be taking place everywhere, wherever it is being used. So this kind of theory doesn't go pleasant with this particular thing. So all we need to do, we need to go for some alternative theory.